Hi, my name's Patrick, and I actually spoke at the winter retreat. It was like 15 years ago. We all remember how that went, right? We all distinctly remember what I talked about. No? Nobody? Was it? I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm just guessing. I figured you wouldn't remember, but I don't remember what I talked about either. But I'm glad. Thank you for having me come up this weekend. I appreciate it. I look forward to the opportunity just to talk through a few things. And what we're going to try to do tonight is set us up for this weekend. The goal is to kind of begin some preliminary, not background work, but just to kind of get us in the right frame of mind. Because I think what we're talking about and the whole concept of the weekend is like reframing the way that we see everything, the way that we see the world, the way that you go through the grocery store and shop, and the way that you interact with your neighbor, and the way that you drive, and the way that you parent, and the way that you work at your job. I mean, everything kind of gets reframed in light of our relationship with God. Everything. And so when we fail to do that, because we live in this world that just constantly kind of brings us back and makes us look at the way everybody else looks at things, and it's just so hard to remember that there's this bigger picture. So to help us out, I thought maybe we would do just a little bit of an experiment. I'm going to show you a picture, and you are going to try to tell me what this is a picture of. All right? So you can just shout it out. I'll show you a picture. You tell me what this is a picture of. And then we'll start off easy. Cantaloupe. You guys know your produce. All right, very good. You've spent some time making sure it's the right consistency or whatever you got to do to make sure you got good cantaloupe. All right, cantaloupe, that is correct. It is a cantaloupe. All right, so that was easy. I got a few in here that I thought I'd sprinkle in. I thought maybe you would know what these are, but a few that I thought might be difficult. Anybody know what this is? A coil shock? I don't even know what that is. Anybody? Come on, there's got to be some folks in here that know. Guitar. It is. That is correct. It is a guitar. It's the tuning string on a guitar, the tuning knob, or whatever that's called. I'm sure there's a name for it. All right. How about this? A paintbrush. I gotta say, I am incredibly impressed. That's exactly what that is. I had no idea. You guys are smart. You got artistic folks in here. All right. How about this? White blood cells. Oh, you've never seen any white blood cells up that close. Any guesses? Any guesses? Oh, what did I hear? Oh, so good. Wow. You've been paying attention. See, again, the produce section is going to play in big here tonight. All right. Oh, man, I'm telling you, I'm sensing a theme. When it comes to foods, you guys are really good at this. You know the foods. All right, very good. That's a sugar crystal. Okay, how about this? Under my couch. Could be. Could be. I could have snuck over, taken a picture of your couch. Any guesses? We got some fibers. We can put some stuff together. Bia, what do you think? You had something. All right. Any guesses before I show you? Big reveal? Furnace filter. Ooh, that's a good guess. It operates similarly to a furnace filter. It is actually a tea bag. Oh, yeah. See, now you guys, if you're looking real close at stuff, you'll be experts. Okay. All right. I got two more. Let's see. How about this? All right. This might be a generational thing. So I think I heard if you're like maybe 30 and down, you know what this was. What was this, Gregory? It's a screen. It's a lighted TV screen. So that's that's what it looks like. Isn't it amazing to think like when you're looking at a screen really close, it looks like that? I think. No? I think it's amazing. Okay. And then here's the last one. I will be impressed if you get... Oh my goodness! I was going to be so impressed. You guys got it right away. Like nothing. This is an actual little slice cross-section of a bar soap under a microscope. I think, it's kind of a fairly obvious way to illustrate this point, but there is so much about life that is really about zooming out. And when you're in too close, it's just hard to see what you're really looking at. And so I think that one of the things that we're going to try to just reiterate over and over this weekend is the idea that we just have to step back and we have to see this bigger picture. When we see things from God's point of view, you're seeing things the way that they are. And when we're seeing things really up close, it's hard to get an idea of what is this and what's going on. And sometimes it makes you ask questions like, why is my life like this? Why would God allow this? Why is this happening? But when you step back, you're like, oh, I see the whole thing. I see what God had planned, and it was for good. And I'm glad He did things the way He did. I know I had to go through some difficulty to get there. I want to tell you 2 quick stories and then share a few verses, and then we'll wrap up this evening, or at least this part of it. Some of you, until very recently, my father, who is with us tonight, drove a purple pickup truck. And it's very distinct looking purple pickup truck. There's something that they have about distinct looking cars. The car that they're driving tonight is also very distinct looking. It's a nice bright teal. So you just know, anywhere you know, my kids are like, oh, Grandpa and Grandma, there they are. You just know. If you get in an accident, it's a teal minivan or a purple pickup truck. It's my parents. So the other day, I'm driving through town, and I say the other day, this is probably a couple of years ago. I'm driving through town, and traffic is backed up. And there's no need for it. It doesn't need to be backed up. Things don't need to be slow. I don't know what's going on. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you drive, you tend to zoom in and you tend to I need to get somewhere. And that's the only thing that really matters in this moment is me getting somewhere as soon as I can get there and whatever it is. So you're driving along and things are backed up and you're like, who is causing this traffic jam? Who could this be? This is so frustrating. Whoever it is, somebody needs to find them, pull them over, and take their license away. Finally, the road opens up into 2 lanes, and I hit the gas, and of course, I'm going to figure out who is causing this traffic jam. And I get to the front of this line of cars, and I look over, and it's a purple pickup truck. And it's my dad who, for whatever reason, does not like to go over idling speed. Puts that thing in first gear and just kind of goes along. His engines last him a long time because he doesn't really use the gas pedal. Never really gets the RPMs up, so they just go on forever and ever and ever. And I look over and it's like, it's my dad. And all of a sudden, my frustration and my anger and whatever, it just dissipates. Oh, Dad, you take as long as you want. No problem. You go as slow as you want. These people can wait. All I needed was more information. Just to back up a little bit and see the bigger picture. And this, what I'm about to tell you, is so important. Here's the thing. We know that we have a God who has all the information. We say that He's omniscient. Do you guys know what omniscient means? It means He knows everything. We believe that God knows everything. And so as soon as you're trying to trick God, you're trying to say, hey, God, what's my favorite food? God knows what your favorite food is. And if you try to say, oh, I'm going to think of a different favorite food, and so God's going to try to guess that favorite food, He knows that you're going to try to trick Him. God just knows everything. We can't just outthink God. God knows everything. So what we need to do is we need to understand, even if we cannot see the bigger picture, we serve a God who can. We serve a God who sees it all, and we believe He is a good God, even if there are moments in our lives where we're zoomed in so close that it's hard to see that fact. It's hard to reconcile the circumstances of our lives with the fact that God is a good God. So sometimes we just need to step back and see the bigger picture. I want to tell you one more story, and then I'll show you a couple verses. Well, it's not really a story. It's just being a parent. All parents have had to do this, and all kids have had to be on the receiving end of it. But parents, have you ever had to take your kid into the dentist, and they were too young to understand why this stranger wearing a mask was coming at them with a stabbing utensil. Like, they didn't know why they were coming at them with this metal hook. They didn't know why they had to keep their mouth open. They didn't know why that guy was in there scraping away. They didn't know any of that. And you're trying to say, it's okay, buddy, or it's okay, honey, it's okay, sweetie, it's fine. They're trying to help you out. And nothing about that circumstance, when you're a 4-year-old kid, feels like that is good. But you, as a parent, you know that it's for their good. Because you know that if you don't brush your teeth fall out and rot, and then you don't get married, and you don't get married, and there's no grandkids, and it's just the whole thing. So brush your teeth. It's the moral of this story. Most of the time, I think it's fair to say that Scripture is trying to get us to see the bigger picture. It's trying to get us to see the bigger picture. Think about so many famous passages of Scripture that just maybe pop to mind, and they have to do with us seeing this bigger picture. What good is it, Jesus said, for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? What good is it? What good is it if you zoom in and you focus all your life on this one thing, achieving this one thing, and you lose out on the bigger picture? It doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do anybody any good. 2 Corinthians 4, 16 through 18. Therefore, we do not lose heart, though outwardly we're wasting away. And you know what Paul's saying there in that passage? He's saying outwardly, it's starting to look worse and worse and worse every day. That's exactly what he's saying. It's looking bad every day. Things are getting wrinkly and saggy, and your hair and all that. We're wasting away, he says. How offensive. Yet inwardly, we are being renewed day by day. This thing that we cannot see, this process that by which God is refining us. For our light and momentary troubles, the dentist with the scraper, the doctor with the scalpel, our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. So when we look, we're not zooming in. What we are is we're zooming out on this idea that there are things that we cannot see, but we trust God. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. When I was sent the theme for the weekend, this was a quote that I was sent, and I had never heard of art cats. Have you guys heard of art cats? Yeah, I was looking them up. I was like, I don't know if I want to use a quote until I know who this guy is. Yeah, has a place in LaPorte. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, just down the road. And this was such a good quote. And if we could kind of begin to digest what this idea means, I think it's going to transform the way we live our lives. This is what he said. When we begin to see all our moments set in the context of eternity, that's the zooming out that we need to do, the context of eternity. You don't have 60, 70, 80, 90 years. That's not how many years you have according to the Bible. The Bible teaches us that we have infinite years, and that changes things. When we begin to see moments set in the context of eternity, we will bring to those moments a seriousness that we would not otherwise have had. And I think it's so valuable to point out that he's not saying that you need to sit there and, am I doing the most important thing with this particular moment? What he's saying is this particular moment is one of infinite moments, and how should I spend it in light of infinity, in light of eternity? So that's what we're going to be talking about this weekend. I think we're going to, hopefully it'll be helpful to look at a couple different areas where eternity should shape what we think. And so tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about the idea generally, just a few things that eternity should shape the way we think. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll talk about the way that it shapes how we think about church and interact with one another and the people in the room and looking around at each other. Eternity should shape that and what we think. And then Sunday morning, we're going to talk about how eternity shapes kind of like these circumstances of our lives that just don't seem fair. They don't seem right. They don't seem good. But how do we see how eternity is shaping those things?